Hello and welcome to the full car repair refinishing demonstration video. In most cases, when several parts of the paint film of a car are damaged, painters will prefer using the full car repair technique. Before getting started, put on the personal protective equipment, which consists of a paint suit, a mask, the headgear, gloves, and safety shoes. In the next step, assess the damage of the surface to estimate the area to be refinished. There are three ways to examine the surface. 1. Using the reflection of a fluorescent light. 2. Using the hands to feel the damage. 3. Using rulers to assess the damage. After assessing the damage, use a sander to remove the paint film on the damaged area. Sand down in a circular motion using 80 grit sandpaper to remove the old finish. After that, use 120 grit sandpaper to level the paint edges. Then sand the damaged spot and surrounding areas with 240 grit sandpaper to enhance adhesion between the surface and the primer. Blow the sanded area dry and clean it with Nax Silicone Off 101. Using the reverse masking method, cover the adjacent areas with paper to keep them from becoming involved in the refinishing process. In order to mix the primer, the painter has to follow the product's instructions for the appropriate mixing ratio. In this video, we will mix 4 parts of Nax 2600 Urethane Premium Primer 2K with 1 part hardener. Then we will dilute it with 40% Nax 500 Standard Thinner. Before applying the primer, clean the panel with Nax Silicone Off 101, followed by a tack cloth. Adjust the spray gun volume according to the size of the area to be painted and the desired thickness of the paint film. Apply the primer to the panel 2 or 3 times until the base coat completely covers the metal surface. Focus on the area where you sanded off the paint film earlier. Dry the panel with infrared heating at 60 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes, or let it dry at room temperature for approximately 60 minutes. When the primer is perfectly dry, apply a guide coat and sand the base coat with 240 grit sandpaper. Then clean the area with Nax Silicone Off 101. The next step is applying the putty. In this video, you will use Nax 2K Extra Fine Putty 869 with the mixing ratio of 100 parts putty mixed with 2 to 3 parts hardener. Apply the putty 2 or 3 times until it fully covers the surface. If the area contains a ridge, the painter has to use masking tape to highlight the ridge line before applying the primer. After putty application, dry the panel with infrared heating at 60 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes or let it dry for 15 to 20 minutes. When the putty is perfectly dry, apply a guide coat and sand the putty repeatedly using 120, 180 and 240 grit sandpaper respectively. Then blow the panel dry and clean the surface with Nax Silicone Off 101. Cover the windows, the tire rims, and areas that you don't want to paint with paper to keep them from becoming involved in the refinishing process. In order to mix the primer, the painter has to follow the product's mixing ratio. In this video, you will mix 4 parts of Nax 2600 Urethane Premium Primer 2K with 1 part hardener, then dilute it with 40% Nax 500 standard thinner. Clean the panel before applying the primer using Nax Silicone Off 101, followed by a tack cloth. Adjust the spray gun volume according to the size of the area to be painted and the desired thickness of the paint film. Apply the primer to the whole car 2 times. Spray a thin layer first, then spray a second layer over the first coat. After applying the primer with dry booth heating at 60 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes, or let it dry at room temperature for approximately 60 minutes. Apply a guide coat and sand the base coat with 400 grit sandpaper. After that, blow the area dry and clean it with Nax Silicone Off 101. Cover the windows, the tire rims, and the other areas with paper to keep them from becoming involved in the refinishing process. Mixing the base coat. In order to mix the base coat, the painter has to follow the product's mixing ratio. In this video, you will mix 100 parts of Nax Premila 2K balanced tint with 80 to 100 parts of Nax 500 standard thinner. Mixing the clear coat. The painter has to follow the product's mixing ratio. In this video, you will use Nax 9600 Clear 2K Ultra Solid mixed with hardener in the ratio of 2 to 1, diluted with 0 to 10% Nax 500 standard thinner. Clean the panel before getting started by using Nax Silicone Off 101, followed by a tack cloth. Adjust the spray gun volume according to the size of the area you want to paint. Base coat application. Apply the base coat 3 times. Do not spray too thick or too thin on the first application. Spray to cover the surface on the second application. Apply a 3rd layer and, again, do not make it too thick or too thin. Apply the base coat by starting from the roof, then spray the rest of the car body going in either a clockwise or a counterclockwise direction. Clear coat application. Spray the clear coat on the whole car twice. Spray the clear coat to get 60 to 70% gloss on the first application and 100% gloss on the second application. The order of spraying is the same as in the base coat application. In addition to the technique mentioned earlier, there are also other spraying techniques such as coat application with the door open. In this case, cover the inside of a door and the door frame with paper. Then start spraying from the roof and continue with the door that is covered with paper. Keep applying the coat around the car body until you reach the door. Remember to close the door covered with paper before you spray the final panel. Coat application with the hood or the trunk removed. In this case, painters will remove either the hood or the trunk for a separate coat application. For the car body, start spraying from the top part of the car, followed by the whole car body, by starting from either side of the removed panel until you reach the other side. Coat application with both the hood and the trunk removed. In this case, painters will remove the hood and the trunk for separate coat applications. For the car body, start spraying from the roof, then spray the sides of the car one at a time. When the top coat is set, force dry the coat with dry booth heating at 60 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 minutes, or let it dry at room temperature for approximately 6 hours.